Tell me when. Go. Okay. So after you get your design already finished and you have the 3 distinct different layers laid out on your design and no 2 layers touch each other, okay, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut it out and start carving off on your clay. So I'm going to take my design, pretend like that's finished, and I'm going to lay it here. Now I rolled some slabs, some extra slabs for people who were absent last time. So this slab that I did was an extra one, and it's a little bit small. Yours won't be this small. Yours should fit your slab. But what you're going to do is you're going to take a ruler, lay your drawing down so that it fits right in the middle, and then you're going to take a ruler, and if your clay is a little bit softer, you could use your needle tool, your paper clip that I gave you, and you're just going to cut through it like this. It takes a couple times. Because what stage is this clay in? No, it's not. Right. If it were in the plastic stage, then I could just pull it off, right? Okay. Making sure that you don't move it. Make sure that you use a ruler. Don't try to free cut this, okay? Also, when I'm cutting the sides, make sure that your instrument is perpendicular to the table so that the walls on your piece are straight up and down and not sitting at any kind of an angle, okay? Because it's really important to prevent crackage. Is that a word? I don't know. Okay. So after you get the whole thing cut out, make sure it's in the leather hard state. Don't do this or don't do any of the tracing until it is in the leather hard state, okay? Because if you push on it when it's in the plastic state, it's gonna be too soft and you're gonna make indentations. And then when you have that flat surface on the top, you're not gonna be able to get rid of that. Pass this around so you can feel what leather hard clay feels like. Okay, so I'm just gonna pretend like this was big enough, which is fine. All right, so after you get the whole piece cut out, a good idea before you start doing anything is to turn it over and put your name on the back and your period, okay? Then if you want to take a sponge, a nice wet sponge, can you hear me, that sponge right there? If you want to take a sponge, you can just take the edges and make them nice and neat and crisp, okay, with the sponge. Then you're going to take your drawing and you're going to lay it here. There was a pen right here, a red one. Okay, then I like to use a ballpoint pen, and what you're going to do is you're going to trace the drawing right onto the clay, and I would use a different color, like I'm using red on red, but you should use like blue on red, or if you did it in pencil, use a pen so that you can see if you missed a line, okay? So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to push hard enough that when I lift, I can see the little bit of an indentation, okay? And you can see a little bit of that. So you're going to trace the whole thing before you lift it. Don't lift it because then you'll never get it back to the right place, exactly where it was in the beginning, okay? So after you trace it on here and the whole thing is traced, you can take the paper off. If the paper sticks to your piece, don't worry about it because paper will just burn out in the kiln. It won't hurt anything. And besides, you'll be carving it so that you can kind of get rid of that. Then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to start carving your layers. So after this is done and it's in the leather hard state, and I'm just going to tell you, if it's too wet, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Okay, don't do it if it's too wet. Make sure it's nice and firm. So let's just say that this is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is layer 3. Okay, so I might even come on here with my pen and go, this is 2, this is 1, this is 3. Okay, so if I start with layer 2, I do not want to go past about 1/8 of an inch down. Okay, layer 3 is going to only be a halfway down. Never go deeper than halfway because you will dig all the way through or it will break. Okay, so it's better to have very subtle changes in your layers. Now, in order to start the layers, you're not going to come in here and just dig things out like this. You're not digging a hole to China. You're just making layers that are on different surfaces, and they go. Thank you. You can wait till after the demonstration. Okay. All right, so when I start carving, I'm gonna do my second layer. I'm just gonna start like in the corner. I'm gonna push down and pull straight. So I'm not digging, I'm not making grooves. I don't wanna come in here and, can I have that big piece so I could show you? One thing that you don't wanna do, you wanna have all of these perpendicular, and you wanna have the edges between layers to perpendicular to these so that you have nice right angles and nice crisp angles, and that's what I'm going to grade you on, is that craftsmanship. So you can't come in here and do this quickly. There's no trick, okay? There's no magic wand. There's no like, oh, bam, I got it done, okay? This is something that you really have to slow down and take your time with, or it's going to look really sloppy. So if you start digging, even if you use the round edge and you start going like this, okay, you're not getting, you're going to make these gullies that are kind of round like this. I always describe it like if a flea came to your place and he was skateboarding, okay, and he went down this ramp, he would be fine. He would have a good time, right? So the flea would be like in like a little flea skateboard park. That's what you might make, right? And that would be fun for the flea, right? But we don't like fleas, okay? So your flea is gonna come over to the edge and he's gonna fall straight off the edge, okay? Because it's like a cliff, it's a straight up and down cliff. So your flea is gonna commit suicide on your art, okay? So you have to think about that in your mind, that I want the flea to die, and that's why your edges have to be nice and straight up and down.
Kill fleas.
That's right, kill fleas, okay? So you might even want to take this, and I'm going to go in and very slowly start this layer, like this, so that I make a nice, flat, even surface. And then this kind of pulls away, so I'm just going to turn it around and pull this way. But notice that I always put the ruler where I don't want to carve, because if I slip, it won't matter. Okay, so on layer 2, I would not go any deeper than this, okay? And I would carve this whole surface the same even layer. Now, on layer 3, I would come in and go like twice as deep, but don't go more than what? Halfway, right? And you can see when I just did that, I kind of tilted my tool. You need to make sure that your tool is straight up and down like that, okay? And so what we're learning in this project is a little bit of the elements and principles of art, but we're also learning craftsmanship and to take our time. And once you learn hand building techniques and ceramics, the decorating techniques are more important than even putting it together, okay? So you can make a box or you can make things, but if the surface has not been dealt with, it's an inadequate piece of art when you get into more advanced levels. So that's why we're starting with a project like this. So very carefully to make it straight across. And if you get in there, if the inside of it feels mushy, stop, okay? On the wall over there, there's a dryer. You can stick it under the dryer and turn the knob. Let it dry for a little bit. It's better to take your time and to do a really good job than it is to make a sloppy piece of art, okay? Because you want to kill, what? Right, you want to kill fleas. So for this one, I wouldn't go any farther than this. For layer 2, here, layer 3 would be here. Then I'm going to finish carving the whole thing, make sure it's nice and clean and crisp. This is your goal. And then after that, you're going to go in and implement your different textures or your patterns. And you can even do that, like, for example, I might want to just go like this. Okay? And while it's maybe a little bit soft, you can always do that like to the top layer. There's different things you could do. You can take, like, I could even take this and trace these circles like this to make more negative shape circles, something like that. You could take something like this and make like little scales like that on your surface, right? So you can look around for different things that you might use in order to make different textures and patterns. Are there any questions? How many layers do we have to have? Can they touch each other? No, you have to be really careful about that. Make sure your piece is in what stage? Leather. Okay, excellent. That's it. Everybody can get their clay.